Hello everybody and merry meet. It's another episode of Moonlight Ponderings and I'm Ronnie Moonborn.
And I'm Severine.
This is a kind of an improv video, sort of a response to the past life video that we have posted. I was not present for it and I kind of just wanted to give my 2 cents into it.
Which, it might just be kind of a little bit of a ramble anyway, because
it's a little impromptu.
Yeah.
Like, this was not a planned thing by any means. If you're wondering, Firechild is actually out of town at the moment.
Yep.
We wish her safe trip.
Well, she got there safely. So yay! She messaged me earlier.
That's good.
As far as like what we talked about, we kind of just talked about things that we felt sort of a nostalgic attachment to. Of course, we actually referenced like past life memories. But I talked about sort of like that something about the Eiffel Tower was very nostalgic to me. Like, I feel like in a past life I was probably frequenting there quite a lot. It was things like that. We talked about a bunch of stuff.
Well, like, me and Firechild, I haven't seen the video yet, guys, just to give you some clarification. Like, if you're wondering, like, he should know. Like, he should have seen the video first. It's, at this point, it's still under editing, and I haven't seen it yet. But me and Firechild were talking, because, you know, we talk about stuff like this, and like how some be latent fears, like fears out of nowhere that you have, might come from a past life occurrence. Like myself, I have always been afraid of bridges, going over bridges. I've always felt a disturbance, I've always felt unsafe. Well, doing some past life reconnaissance, I found out that in a past life, I fell off a bridge and died. So it kind of explains where that fear comes from.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure if I did some more, because I have a fear of wolves also. More so, like, the werewolves for some reason. I just, like, you can ask Severine, I won't watch werewolf movies. No.
Which I kind of relate. I'm not really afraid of wolves per se. There's something sort of mystical and awesome about them to me. But I do have a fear of, well, not a fear. I have a hesitance towards dogs. And that is actually from this life. You know, like, I have a very, very prominent memory from when I was a child where I was attacked by a dog. And so that's a traumatic thing for me. So I'm not very trusting as most people are when they see a dog. Most people see him as friendly.
I used to be afraid of dogs when I was a kid, and my dad actually nipped that in the bud. I'm sorry, not bug.
Bug.
We're drinking wine, to be fair, guys. We're drinking wine right now, so I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, what the hell? But my dad got us a dog when I was 9, I want to say. And it broke my fear of dogs. I just kind of, because I love dogs now. I don't think I'm that type of person that's going to have a pet on their own. I feel like I need to have someone I'm in a committed relationship with that can help me with pets, because I see pets as children. Not like, oh, that's my child, but like, you have to take care of them like a child. But to get back on topic, I feel that there are fears from past lives that just, you don't know where they came from. I also have a fear of snakes, which we have discussed before. And I can't say if that's a past life. That could be a very current thing. I don't know. Because I don't want to blame everything on the past life. Like, oh, this had to happen in a past life, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think most of the time, if it's a past life thing, it's sort of like you really can't explain why. You know, like the whole thing with me feeling nostalgic about the Eiffel Tower. I just can't explain that. I couldn't say like, oh, well, I've been to Paris, because I've never been to Paris. I mean, I've only ever seen it in imagery. At least in this life, I've never been to Paris, so, you know.
Well, I've heard of accounts of people who can recall things so vividly, and they've never been in this area, but they could tell you specifically things. Like, yes, you turn here, and you'd be there and there. Don't know where it came from. But they have this knowledge, and I do believe that some of that is stuff that you've retained from a former life. I also think that, and I believe we discussed this before too, that I don't believe that when it comes to past lives, it follows a linear path. Like, you could be in this life now, and then in your next life, you're in the 1800s.
I think we talked about that one too, is that, you know, it's not so much that you are following... What is it? What would the correct? You're not following the actual sequence, like you die and then you're born that same year again. It's more like, you know, you could die this year and then be born, like you said, Victorian era. We talked about that a little bit. What we, you know, we talked about that. I think I told her, but I didn't really talk to you about it, and that's that I have a very vivid memory of being a Roman child, and when I was 9 years old, I remember, you know, thinking that I was having like a really bizarre dream, but there would be no reason that I would have had it, because I mean, you know, like there was
no knowledge of...
No knowledge.
I do think dreams are very interesting, and because I've had dreams that I woke up and I just knew, like that was a memory from a past life. I ever dreamt that I was an African who just came to America and got attacked. And then I woke up and there was this shook feeling, like I knew. I knew that that was me in a past life.
And see, when I was 9 when I had that dream. So I had no idea. Like, I was like, it felt so real. I remember thinking it felt so real. It didn't feel like a dream. It felt more like a memory. I remember thinking that. And I remember kind of dealing with sort of the weirdness of it.
I feel like also there are lives that we return to. Like, I believe that we're not always human in past lives. And like in a different life, I was this entity, and I sometimes return to this entity form, because I get this feeling sometimes of such strong entitlement, like how dare you, you know, like I'm divine or something like that. And I promise you guys, I don't have an ego like that in real life, but it comes on sometimes. Like, I get seriously, I'm like, this mortal dare say this to me, and I'm like, where did that come from? Like, you are not a divine being.
Well, I think, and this is my belief, I'm just going to add a disclaimer, like, if you don't believe it, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I've done a lot of research on the idea of achieving gnosis, which is when you basically learn and teach yourself sort of how to become a divine being. And so I wouldn't say like I know a lot about the topic. I'm very, very new to the topic, but I've been doing a lot of research into it. And I think that I sort of ascribe to that thought of like that deities are not just beings to necessarily be worshipped. Sometimes I think they want to share with you things they can teach you to improve your life or your quality of existence. And so I think it's not a far stretch to say maybe in one life you were a deity, and then one day, you know, maybe you got too proud in that life and you needed to live a more humble existence to sort of appreciate it better, or something along that line.
This is actually a little personal. I actually have memories of, I don't know, I wouldn't say I was a deity, but I was a higher being. I will say that. But I was in this realm, and it was in the Greek times. And I just remember tricking this person to be my companion, and they entered my realm. And I remember deciding to become human for a life and then return, and that is something that I was capable of doing at that point. So, not to say that I'm still that being, because by no means do I think I'm divine. I don't think I'm better than anyone. But who's to say that this life is not that plan that's happening right now? My words are not wanting to come to me.
Oh no, I mean, but I think the thing about divine is we kind of, what's the word? We make deity and divinity a thing of like idolization, whereas I think sometimes it's not so much that as it is, like I said, I don't think every deity wants you to just worship them per se. I think they might want you to take them on sort of as you would be like a mentor.
Well, I feel like that is my relationship with Apollo, especially. I do not worship Apollo. I work with Apollo. And
I feel like I don't really worship Taos either. I have a lot of imagery and iconography involving him, but at the same time, like, no different than I would if you bought me something or whatever and I would have it hung up, because we have a relationship where it's like that's personal to me because it makes me think of you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it's on a different level because he is a deity, and I do think it is a different level, just in the same sense of like not everybody is as informed as someone who's been doing something a lot longer.
Well, and I feel like depending on your beliefs, I'm not trying to diss anyone's beliefs, but I think it's a little, I don't want to say cruel, but to put deities on a pedestal like they are perfect beings, they will never mess up or anything like that. Because, I mean, I feel like they're allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to be emotional, you know? Of course, the Christian belief is that God's perfect. And if that's what you believe, you are more than welcome to believe that. I am not here to tell you are wrong. Whatever makes you happy makes you happy. But I do feel, for me, that a deity does not want to be put on that pedestal like that. Like, oh, I can't mess up, or I have to be perfect at all times.
Well,
Excuse me.
You're okay. I feel like, too, that there's, like, it's not to say that, oh, worship is just, like, any less insignificant, because I don't believe that. I think that if you feel called to worship a deity and have that kind of relationship with them, there's a reason for that.
Oh, I agree completely,
I mean,
yes.
you know, just because we don't necessarily ascribe to that does not mean that I don't see. It's just like if you work at a job. Like I'm a designer. I know Photoshop. That doesn't mean that I expect the sales rep that sells the ads to know the ins and outs of Photoshop.
Or like, this might be a career for you, but it just might be a job for someone else.
Same. Like, I mean, exactly that. You know, just because it's not my path does not mean it's not important. And I think there is something to that. I think there's it's just like if you look at a piece of art, you know, and you're looking at one color that sort of brings together the piece or what have you. And like, there's still the other colors and they each do their own job.
I would love to hear from someone that actually worships a deity that's like pagan or Wiccan, because I would like to hear their insights, because I was like, that's just, I don't, part of it I think it is that strong Christian background that stops me maybe. But,
well, I feel like there's...
I just also feel, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I just also feel like, though, the deities I work with do not want my worship.
Part of what I felt like very strongly pushed me away from Christianity is not even to do with like how I feel about Christianity itself, as much as like, you are saved, now what do? You go and you get more people saved. And it's like, well, this thing is going on in my life that's really terrible, that's upsetting me, that, you know, I would like to do something about, and a Christian, or, you know, like my Christian friends that I knew personally would be like, well, you need to pray about it. And I kind of felt a little disconnected. Like, I'm relying on another being to take care of all of my problems instead of me actually being able to do anything about it.
I feel like because I'm not a Christian, I can't really comment on that to the extent of a Christian view, because I do not want to offend anyone who is a Christian. If you are a Christian and you are watching our videos, first of all, I want to say bless you, because that means you are a very kind-hearted person who is
open-minded.
And welcome.
And too, like that, but me saying that is not me saying that if you feel like you should be relying on God and you should be praying and not self-reliant per se. I say per se a lot.
You emo.
Per se.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, but I think it's okay, like, if that's what you feel like you need.
Yeah, if that's what you feel like you need, that's fine. I am a very, very...
We value our independence, me and you both.
And it's not to say that you can't be independent if you are relying on prayer, because that's not what I mean. I mean that at the core of my being, in a very, very deep way, I'm very independent. Like, I don't like other people paying for stuff for me. I don't like, you know, having to rely on someone else that often. That doesn't mean I don't see the necessity of it, because I think a lot of things you have to find a balance for. But that's definitely a big part of, I feel like, why I sort of felt disconnected. Because at least, and that was just where I was, and that was the church that I was in, that it was sort of like, you know, you need to pray about it and ask God to help you see, or whatever. And
because I'll let you know, I feel like sometimes I do come off very anti-Christian, and I'm not by any means. I have met some wonderful Christian people.
Oh, I have too.
And I have met some very wonderful Muslim people. I've met people from all walks of life. So I do not think that what you believe in, it's what you do with your beliefs, I feel, is what feels like. As long as you're not hurting anyone, then I'm fine with your beliefs. Now, if you're actively trying to cause harm to someone, either physical or emotional, or mental, that's not okay with me.
I don't believe in imposing beliefs either. And that is probably one of my biggest issues with any religion. And I think too, it sort of influences why I like to say that I'm eclectic. I don't really like labels, because then I feel like a lot of people are going to tell you, you're doing it wrong.
I like that. I really like that.
Eclectic is saying that it's multiple things, and so like it might not be the right way per se, but oh my god.
Guys, we need to start a count. I challenge the viewers. Find out how many times she says per se in the year 2018.
Oh my god. Don't make it a drinking game. I do not want anyone to die.
I think it's interesting. I say a lot though, so
well,
the very same can be said for me. I say a lot.
I notice it whenever I'm editing, especially that I say and it's like a pause. It's almost like if I were to make a pause, I say
I haven't noticed any for Firechild, to be honest. I think she's like, out of the three of us, she doesn't have a trigger word.
I'm jealous of her. No, she does. Naturally. Pay attention to when she talks.
Firechild, if you're seeing this, I apologize.
I love you. You'll be saying something and you're like, well, naturally.
I see, but I don't notice that because even when we're just regular talking without the camera, I don't notice that one. I notice and I notice per se a lot more.
She does not say it as often as we do. I will say that. Hers would be more like a 2 count out of like. I've said per se at least
in this video alone
5 times in this video. She might say naturally all of twice, but I have noticed that that's the closest you would get to a trigger.
But getting back on subject, my family is majority Christian, and when we have family dinners and stuff like that, they'll say grace. My way of not offending them, but at the same time keeping to my beliefs is I give thanks to the beings I work with and to the universe. And I feel like to coexist with them, I do call this entity the All Spirit, who I feel like represents, one, all my deities, but also all the deities out there and whatnot. I do believe there is this spirit who kind of is a part of everything. And I pray to that spirit every night. Some call him All Father or All Mother. I really don't have any hang-ups on gender, but that's why I feel like, because I'm silently giving thanks to. It's like they'll say their grace, and I'm saying my silent grace. So I feel like that way, it's not secret, but it's like we're kind of feel like at that point we're praying to the same being.
Well, yeah,
just in a different way.
And to me too, if you want to, if we want to exist and be loving, we have to sort of do stuff like that where it's like, I feel like coexisting sounds kind of like not the term I would want to use, because it is coexisting, but it's like coexisting means to me like the bare minimum, I guess. And like I feel like there's a better word than coexisting. Getting along, maybe. I don't know, but my parents, they are very Christian, and they're not particularly like, they still like to know, and they ask me questions. There might be times that they say something kind of where it's like, I feel like anyone else might take it offensive, but to me it would be more like, they're saying this because they're not knowledgeable of it.
I get a little offended when someone tries to compare me to a fictional character. Like, okay, Harry Potter or something like that. I'm like, well, I love Harry Potter, and like...
Well, one of my friends, the first time I said, oh, well, I'm a witch, she said, and I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because in this area there's a lot of negative stigma around it. And she says, I've watched Charmed. I know not all witches are bad. And I was just like, oh. Oh my
gosh. Like, first of all, if she thinks that you can, like, have telekinesis with your eyes, I'm going to be like...
First of all, I wish I had to.
No, I'm glad I don't. I would force choke so many people.
I feel like it would be dangerous to have magic in such a, visible, tangible way like that. I think it's, and to me, with her, I felt like the best way to handle that was not to get mad. Because the thing about it is most people that say something that is what you would consider offensive, they're not realizing that it's offensive. They're thinking, this is my familiarity with it. And my mom, one of the first questions she asked me was if that meant that I would never go to church again. That I would never go with them if they wanted me to or whatever. And I said, to be honest, I don't feel the, I said, I don't feel the calling to go to church. That does not mean that if it was an event or something like, for Mother's Day or Father's Day or a holiday that you're into, that is very important to you, if you would like for me to be there, then yes, I will go.
I do feel bad because my parents are very involved in the church. They are actually pastors. And I don't go to church. And part of me feels like, oh, that reflects badly on them, and I feel a little bad about that. But at the same time, I feel like I'm allowed to make my own choices in life. And mind you, the one time I did go to church, and I'm not saying this is all Christian churches, forewarning right now, Firechild and Severine were with me, and lo and behold, they talk about how evil witchcraft is.
Yeah, they talked specifically about witches, and they said that there was a church that was off of this road that they went on. I'm not going to tell you logistics or anything like that. But anyway, there was this witchy store off of this road. And the guy said that they prayed really, really hard and basically burned, the prayer caused the building to burn down and the witch to move out of the country.
Which, by our definition, is the form of a spell, my kind of opinion, but
speaking things into existence have a lot of power.
I agree. We were on past lives.
Well,
we said it
was gonna be a ramble, so you guys. But to be fair, I mean, I'm not saying that. Just the context of, like, he didn't say that she did anything to provoke them to do that. Because if she had been, like,
running up in there and saying she's gonna curse people and
stuff
like that.
Like, if she came into the church and she was like, you get a curse, and your daughter dies on her 16th birthday by pricking her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel. I mean, you have every right to be offended and defend yourself.
Yeah.
But her existence...
Well, like, we don't know the whole story, to be fair.
We don't. We just know how he worded it, and how he worded it was very...
Like, for all we know, she wasn't doing anyone or harming anyone, or she could have been.
Yeah.
My thing is, if she wasn't, then, like, that's just hate.
Yeah.
And anyone using any religion as their shield to hate someone for something that they just don't like because it's different from them is wrong. And I say any religion because it's not just Christians that do that. I do feel sometimes as people who are in our path, we're very guarded. And especially towards Christians, we're like, oh, you feel this way, but you know?
Yeah, you wanted to steal all of the good stuff about your holidays from us, but then you want to exclude us and call us devil worshippers. Gosh, guys.
But I just want you guys to know right now, I don't promote that in any means. I don't like that sometimes any religion, and I'm saying any religion, now, I'm sorry if this offends you, because I'm not trying to offend anyone when I say this, but like any religion that makes you put someone higher than yourself, like in a marital status, if you have to put your husband above you, I have a big issue with that. And I think it comes from being raised by a single woman. And it's just like, oh, no, no, no. Now, to be fair, if you're happy and you're functioning that way, like, it's not necessarily that, like, he's the boss or anything like that, but, like, you just tend to go by you let him lead, but you're perfectly happy with that, then you know what? That's not for me to judge. But I just, in my core, it's like, nope. But again, if you're happy doing it, then God bless.
Well, my thing about stuff like that is that it's so hard for me, not because I don't care. If you feel like you should be letting this one person make decisions for you, that's fine by me. Because, to be fair, and I'll use me as an example. We go out to eat, and someone asks me what I want to eat. My first thought is,
It really is, guys. Word. So yeah, basically, guys, make the mind up for Severine where we're gonna go out to eat, because if you don't, we're gonna be debating for a while. Not that we don't do internal conflicts anyways.
Well, I think the thing about like keeping on that strain of, like, you know, when you're perhaps when it's preferable for you to have someone else to make a decision for you, it's mainly because you just prefer to be considerate.
I agree.
Or you maybe even, I think it sort of like feels good to let someone else decide in that situation. So if it's that's a healthy thing, because that makes you happy.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I agree.
So.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. My cat Sammy is not a familiar. I have some crystals, and my little altar that they made me is sitting on my nightstand. My cat comes into my room, which she rarely does, proceeds to knock crystal by crystal off of my nightstand. I was like, you evil cat. And like, since she's not really allowed in my room, I'm like, no.
Gosh, I cannot even imagine if we had a cat. Oh, they would not be allowed in my room.
Take the crystals. Oh, all your crystals would get knocked down.
I'd have to have like a... I feel like whenever I get a home on my own anyway, I'm going to want a curio cabinet. And that's where they're going to be. And then I won't have to worry about anything knocking them down.
Because Severine will have some cats.
Yeah, I love cats. So what did we learn in this video today? Severine is not a dog person. Severine is a cat.
I like dogs. I love them. They're so lovely. I saw a husky puppy the other day. Melted my heart.
Huskies are beautiful. But I kind of associate them on the same wave I do wolves, I guess. Because they're very wolf-like already. Which
is why I agreed with your statement earlier. Like, it's not that you find wolves scary. You find them majestic. It is more so for me werewolves. I don't know where it comes from. It's just like, oh gee, because it is weird because it's more so of a recent fear. Because oh my god, I used to watch horror films all the time. With like, I watched The Howling and stuff like that. Yeah, American Werewolf in Paris and London.
My dad raised me on old horror movies.
And The Howling scares me now. Like, I will not watch it. I'm like, no, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know where that's coming from.
It's something about that particular, because I'm sort of getting that idea where it's a wolf-man hybrid thing that is bothering you.
Oh yeah, if it looks like a wolf, like it's just like a legit wolf that a person turns into a legit wolf, I'm fine. Mm. I'm like, oh, that's fine. It's when it's like that demon-esque, anthropomorphic, oh gosh, no. I'm like, you know what? Keep that to yourself. I've showed Severine a clip from a movie where this particular werewolf was terrifying looking, and she went, oh no. She was even like, no, not about that.
Oh my gosh. But on the topic of like, because we were talking about organized religion and stuff, I guess. I mean, I really don't have a problem with it, guys. It's not that I have a problem with anything. If it makes you happy, bruh.
Well, see, I do have... I'm not big on organized religion. I will say that. It's not that I dislike it. I'm not big on it. So I don't know if I will ever actually be in a coven. If I am, it's going to be a small coven. You know, it's like...
It's going to be the most super chill thing. Do you guys mind if I do this, and that? Whatever, bruh. Whatever. I'm going to be doing this, though. Like, I think I have a problem with organized religion. And this is personal preference. This is not... You guys should agree with me. My problem with organized religion is, like, for instance, when we're talking about you should be submissive to your spouse. I don't feel like it's anyone else's business. I feel like...
You feel like that's more of a relationship thing?
That's a relationship thing. That's not a religion thing. Because not everyone's relationship is the same. Heck, even if you are a person who's indecisive like me, sometimes you still know the need that in some situations you have to be assertive. And you have to be decisive.
Well, because I do think that you and Firechild live together. And there'll be times where she'll make a decision about something, but I don't agree with that.
Well, you have to. Because
like, she's not a pushover by any means, guys. I do not want to think that either of these women are pushovers.
No, neither one of us are, and we are very good about if something is bothering. And it used to not be this way, and I can say that, you know, like, we're very good at, we talk things out. And I can say from my personal experience that, you know, because I am very much like, I want to sort of keep things peaceful, and I don't want to cause trouble, and I also think about, you know, is me talking to so-and-so about this being an issue right now. I even do it with Ronnie. There will be times where I'm like, this doesn't bother you that I talk to you about this? And it's because I'm thinking, well, how is my talking to him about this affecting him? Or, you know, does he have this going on right now? He had a long day at work. Am I bothering him? You know, so...
Guys, we used to call her Miss America. Because she would not confront people at all.
And when you start living with someone, you have to realize that you have to say something. Because if you don't say something, you really have no right to be upset about it.
No, you don't.
Like, how do they know if you don't tell them?
Unless they're a mind reader.
Yeah, unless you're a mind reader.
That's a deep fear of mine, actually.
That you're gonna...
No, that someone can read my mind. Because, like, I'll think something, and it's not that I'm thinking terrible thoughts, it's just, if someone heard what I was thinking about that person at that particular moment, that is awkward. And I'm like, please don't be able to read my mind, because I just thought something a little awkward about you. Or, like, because, you know, I have eyes, and I am a sexual person, I will see someone go, ooh, sexual way, think of them in a sexual way, and I'm like, oh my god, if they could read my mind, I'd be mortified right now. Like, I'm a little crazy, guys. We get it. Because I'm like...
We have some conversations. And I mean, I feel like, too, like, thinking about someone one way is different than, like, actually going and being like, alright, so... You mind doing this? I don't know. I feel like my issue with organized religion is that I feel like it's someone telling you to be uniform with everyone else a lot of time. And...
But if it works for you guys, it works for you.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying it is an issue. It is a problem and we should get rid of it. Because I don't believe that. I think one of the beautiful things in this world is that we're so different in our beliefs. And I think people miss how necessary it is that we are. Because it sort of orchestrates things in a way where, you know, we have to learn. Sometimes you have to learn to be selfish, and then sometimes you have to learn to be considerate. And sort of along the lines of what I was saying about my parents, you know, I would still go with them to church if they wanted me to. And I wouldn't make it a frequent thing just because, you know, I don't feel like it would affect me in a positive way to be going every single church service. But if it was a special event thing and it was really important to them, like, you know, like I said, like a holiday or something, I'd be there. And it's because I love them and I want us to have a good relationship that I feel that way. So...
Oh yeah, if my mom's church was having like a Christmas special, I'd go to it.
Yeah.
But if like, oh, I just would like to see you at church this day, I'm probably gonna be like, well, part of it is also, I work in retail and Saturday nights, if I'm working a Saturday night, I don't get out of work till 1:30 in the morning. The last thing I want to do is get up and go to church. And I mean, even if like, okay, let's flip the heads. Like we had a religious ritual, a spiritual ritual every Sunday at 9:30. I'd miss a lot of those. Because again, I close, don't get out till like 1:30, and I'm that type of person. Just because I get off at 1:30 doesn't mean I'm going right home and going straight to bed. I have to unwind a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm just changing my schedule to day now, and it's very, very difficult because of the fact that I've been so used to like being up super late. It's weird.
I know, I have no one to talk to at night anymore. It's so sad.
Oh, you can still call. I'm usually up for a little while, and I'm like.
But I'm very selfish. Like, I ain't gonna keep her up. She's gotta get up at the smack of dawn.
See, he's considerate too.
So I've been told.
Even though he tells me where to eat.
It's for your own good.
Well, I do feel like in saying that too, like, you know where I like to eat. So I feel like sometimes you say something knowing she would really like this.
It's funny just because in this location, majority of my friends are younger than me. So when you're the older friend guys, just say, you kind of are the parent friend.
It is kind of true.
I mean, that's not always the case because I have a friend who's young. She's a whole year younger than me, and she kind of takes on that parent role sometimes. Mm. But I don't parent her. But like, I feel like I parent you a little bit.
You do.
I parent Firechild a little bit. Not a whole lot, but every now and then I'll be like, are you sure that's a good decision? Mainly when it comes to alcohol, I parent her. It's just like, because I think everyone should have that person when you're drinking, and if you're drinking more than you normally drink, you need to have that one person in your corner that's like, hey, that's a bad idea. Let's not do this one.
Heck yeah. And I want that, like, I want
that for me. Like,
yeah. Like, we're drinking right now, and we're kind of like, both, I feel like we've been very reasonable as far as, like, it's not been a lot of alcohol. But if it was more than what we were, I would want one of us to be kind of not drinking more.
Well, because, like, what if one of us fell and busted our heads wide open?
The other one would just be in the corner, like, 15 minutes later.
So, me being the parent to you little viewers, drink responsibly.
Yes.
Also, drink at the proper drinking age, because I did that, right? I did not at all.
I will say, like, personal belief, I feel like if you are old enough to enlist in the army,
you should be allowed to drink.
You should be allowed to drink.
I agree with that statement.
Because that's ridiculous that if you could go overseas and die, you would not be allowed to have alcohol here. Personal belief. I'm sure there's someone out there who probably would be like, I think you're wrong. Well, that's fine. You can think I'm wrong. Either way, neither one of us gets to make the change on the law about it. So
it's interesting. Getting way off topic here. It just popped in my head randomly, blaming it on the wine. I actually did tarot card readings for people I work with.
Oh.
That was very interesting because I've never done that before with people whom I don't know like that. Because I'm that person. I am friendly with people at work. I am not friends with the people I work with. Well, to be fair, I am friends with someone I work with now, but that's because we've known each other since we were like 9. So
yeah, well, I'm friends with a couple of coworkers, and I feel very friendly to most of them, and I think that that's sort of grown since, especially now I'm day shift, so I see more of them, which I'm just a friendly individual anyway.
She is.
I get picked on all the time because I'm always saying hello whenever I come in the door, like, to everybody. But for the most part,
you do that. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys heard that wind break, like that glass breaking. Because like my window was shattered. I was like, oh, she does that.
Yeah, I come into work and I'm like, hello, hello.
She does that to me.
Sam picks at me, my coworker. She says, your voice gets like a whole pitch higher whenever you say hello. But
oh, go ahead.
That's my, I think for the most part, that's my big thing with organized religion is I don't have a problem with it, like as it is in existence as its own thing, but I would never be comfortable being a part of telling someone that you have to reshape your life to this if it's not fitting for you.
I would hate for someone to come to me and say, tell me what to do with my life. I'll be like, first thing I'm going to tell you is don't ask people what you should do. But it's like, you need to think long and hard on that yourself.
Well, some people need that guidance. And that's why I think organized religion is a good thing. Some people need that. Some people need someone to tell them that. And that's not to say that because you need someone to tell you that's lesser of you. We work differently. We function differently.
I've had someone tell me they believed I was to become a pastor at one point, and I was going to speak, like I was going to run a church at some point. Okay, I'm not going to say they're wrong because I don't know what the future holds. I'm just saying as it stands right now.
Church meaning coven? Like...
I was just like, it doesn't look, the prospects don't look great.
Everyone, look to the sun and let's praise Apollo.
I don't know, I'd be yelling at Apollo some days. I'm like, hey, it's bright out today. Can we tone this down?
And then Apollo gets super menacing at you.
Sunburn for you today. But like, this is like me finding Apollo has been a recent thing. Like I'll say, like right after summer, I discovered this, and so I think I will have a long talk with him before I go to the beach again. But listen, I would just appreciate it if I didn't get sunburned while I'm out. I'm still gonna put sunscreen on. I'm still gonna try to be responsible about it. But I would appreciate it if you would help me out with the sunburns, because I'm the type of person, I'm tan naturally, but I will burn. Never fails.
Yeah. I won't
Excuse me, y'all.
I won't say that I tan naturally. I'm pale.
You lobster and then you're brown afterwards.
Yeah, that's what happens. 1 hour in the sun. Why are you so red?
Well, part of it is I naturally don't expose my chest unless I'm at the beach. So that part of my body is very pale and I guess very sensitive. So that's the part of me that'll tan in my face or burn my face. I burn my face all the time. It's so sad.
I burned my nose. Oh my gosh, this one time when we went to Pagan Pride, actually, I got sunburnt.
You
so
did.
Bad. Like, I had the worst cleavage tan lines ever.
It was so funny because the next day, instead of getting sunblock like, you know, rational people would do, we go get umbrellas. So we're walking outside on this bright sunny day with umbrellas blocking the sun. I guarantee Apollo's like, excuse me? What is up with this? You got something you want to tell me?
Oh my gosh. And I mean, like, oh, it was awful. I had like the milky white titties and just this brown line where like my shirt had
She couldn't wear certain cut shirts for a while.
Nope, sure could not. Sure could not. Man, that was something else. But,
I had a few positive experiences. Need to learn to articulate. from Pagan Pride. It was very nice to see that many people out and about, but at the same time, it almost felt like organized religion to me, and so part of me, I felt panicked a little bit.
Well, I could see that, but I think too that, like, the thing about us is, you know, whereas we're not very organized religion, like, we're not sitting here, we're not having, like, we don't have, like, we're really not even a coven, we're more of, like, just the three of us.
We're a triangle, and, like, we don't even always, we don't do rituals together like that at all.
Sometimes I do stuff by myself, sometimes he does stuff by himself, sometimes Firechild does stuff by herself. Sometimes we do stuff in pairs, and then sometimes we do stuff the three of us.
Come together.
Right now.
Oh. But, for those of you who have never been to North Carolina or Central Pagan Pride, this was our first year. So I just kind of want to tell you what to expect. We get there, it's a campsite, kind of. It's the best way to, like, describe it.
It was like a...
Fairgrounds, better
like
yet.
Fairgrounds.
Open fairgrounds. And not that it's not Pride, but it is kind of like a glorified flea market of witchy things.
There were concerts and there were panels, but I felt like none of the... well, I say panels because I'm so used to doing...
Workshops.
Workshops. I'm so used to cons, guys. Excuse me.
We did not utilize the workshops as much.
We did a couple. We did the glass blowing one, which was very interesting, but I mean, I felt like...
It was very much so, I thought it was going to be showing, like, how to, like, a little bit of teaching how, where it was showing how, and I am a person who's like, you have to let me try it myself to...
Yeah.
No offense against the glassblower, because her work was beautiful.
It was beautiful, and I would not have really wanted to learn. I really just wanted to watch for that one. But the other stuff, I don't know, because I felt like we didn't really connect with that particular... Which, there's a lot of times whenever I'm looking for information, or I'm, like, you know, doing research or whatever, that I find something interesting, but then I find other aspects of it not as interesting, and that's...
There were some awesome pagan bands there.
There were some awesome bands. And there were some awesome, you know...
There's artwork galore. There was... Guys, there was, like, shopping-wise, there's a lot. And I will forewarn you, if you're going there to shop, you need to bring at least $400 with you. So that way... Well, I mean, like, because if you shop like me, where you like to get stuff, I mean, because some of it's expensive, like, but rightfully so, I would say most of it is rightfully expensive.
Oh yes, especially stones and crystals. Like, if it's coming from this or that, and it's like, you know, one of the rare things that you would have a hard time getting.
Or been treated with a special medal.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna put money into it. I mean, you just have to, I think, just be prepared for that, and all will be well. If we go next time, I think it's going to be a day thing. I feel like, for me, my thing, and it's just kind of like, I feel this way a lot anyway whenever I'm, like, researching or looking into stuff. I feel like I would like to be connected with people, and I would love to maybe have, like, the best way I can say it is study group, because I would not want to say coven, I would not want to say... let's say study circle. Study circle. Where we can just share stuff, and it's not like a... Like
the spells you were willing to share.
Yeah,
stuff like experiences.
Spells and experiences you're willing to share. Like, be cool to find someone who's as into, you know, ley lines and stuff, and what their thoughts are. I love talking about
I would like to meet people who work with Apollo. I would like to meet people who worship Apollo.
Yeah, but I would not want anybody to ever feel like, oh, well, we have to do something like this. You know, we have to have, like, this big thing or whatever.
Where it becomes an obligation. And I think that's why I would not feel comfortable with coven. It'd be baby steps for me to get to a coven, I think. Like, I wouldn't want more than, like, 5 or 6 people to start out with. I think my maximum level would be like 12.
And see, I've never really been in a coven experience. I've only ever been in, like...
A guidance experience more so?
I've been in a church, like, you know, so I recall, like, us doing Bible studies and things like that.
Yeah, part of me is like, what would you do in a coven? Like, do you sing coven hymns? Do you... If you're in a coven, please talk to us about it.
Please don't be upset. We really just don't know.
It's ignorance. It really is.
It really truly is.
But like, inform us. Like, please comment and tell us. Like, give us some things that y'all do.
I can say from experience that, you know, that when we went to Pagan Pride, and you guys don't know. So okay, I will retell the story of this. One of the things that I did think was really cool was the opening ceremony. And that was, we all got in a big circle. And
called the corners.
We called the corners. That is sometimes a typical thing that happens in like the opening of a coven most of the time.
And then we gave offerings to the spirits.
Yeah. And it was really cool. There was no like specific deities that you were like calling to or anything
like that. They didn't portray more, they didn't cater to Wicca more so over pagan, nor did they cater to paganism over Wiccan.
Yeah, which that is pretty typical
Wicca.
In most, at least from the ones that I have researched, that's a typical opening coven thing, is that they do the calling of the corners. But also,
if you are interested in going, it is technically a free event, you just gotta bring a canned food.
Yeah. And,
so, I mean, rate your pantry before you go and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was fun, but I also felt like I wanted to find something that was really speaking to me on this deeper level, more so than like...
I think we expected too much. I will say that. I expected a lot more than it was.
I think we kind of wanted to actually... I think we wanted to meet people and learn things.
And we didn't really meet anyone.
Yeah. I mean, we met people. There was one shop in particular that the couple that owned the shop, they were very nice and very friendly. And I loved being able to connect with them. And some of the shop owners, it was like
the one where I got the angel oracles from? Where they sell the stones?
They did sell stones, but it wasn't that one. It's where I got the hemimorphite, the blue stone that's really that like you can get some that's glow in the dark.
No, that I got from the same place.
Oh, I thought the oracor.
Because she had the elf ears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the same place. I really did like them. They were very nice people.
Yeah. And I felt that way about some of the shop owners. Like,
a lot of the shop owners are very nice. I have to say. There are some of the most pleasant people there. That's not to say that there weren't some that were just like, yeah. There was no one rude. I will say that. There was no one there rude. But I mean, there were some that were a little more enthusiastic than others.
Yeah, which sometimes that's just you're a people person versus you're not. And to me, I felt like I just wanted to connect with different people and hear different things that they do. I like listening to other people's practices, like meditations, how people meditate versus how, you know, other people do. And
I would like to hear from some of you viewers. If you could, like, message us on Facebook.
Yeah, I love hearing about stuff. I find that kind of thing interesting. I like that in our practice, there's a lot of room for individuality. That's how I feel about it. Like, there's no, like, you have to do it my way. There's, like...
That is one of the best things. I think that is the biggest attraction to our paths. Is that there's, like, rules, but there are no real rules. You, like... It's very intuitive.
Yeah. And... to me, I think that a lot of the panels that were there, I just did not find, which there weren't very many to begin with, or panels. I keep saying panels, guys.
Just bear with her.
You can tell I've done a lot of cons.
Cons are fun.
They are fun.
I would love to do like a weekend more pagan related con.
And that's probably, I feel like, what I had in mind is that I was thinking it was going to be...
Probably because you've been to so many cons, but I think a pagan con would be fun.
I think so too, and I think that's probably what I was expecting. And not to say that anything was wrong with the way that Pagan Pride was set up, because I certainly did not think there was anything wrong with it.
I think the fact that we have it in North Carolina speaks volumes in general.
Yeah, I agree completely. I thought it was really cool, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say there weren't things that I enjoyed.
Excuse me.
Is it going?
Yeah, okay. Would say go to Pagan Pride, definitely, at least once. It's something, if you have a Pagan Pride in your state, country, home, and you're available to go to, you have the chance to go to it, you should definitely try it at least once. I'm with you. Next time I go, it'll probably be just for the day.
Yeah, and I mean, not to say that, like I said, there were things I loved. Like, you know, there were some interactions that were a lot of fun. Like, I was very proud of Ronnie because there was a lady that walked right by us with 2 boas.
Didn't even notice them.
He didn't notice them, but then we agreed that if we saw her again...
I'd ask to touch it.
He'd ask to touch it. And we...
Not hold, but to touch. She tried. That woman tried to get me to hold it. And I was like, nope. And
Firechild and I ended up holding them. They were sister snakes. And they were so beautiful, you guys.
I am leaning to, like, boas don't bother me so much as, like...
Well, I feel like...
It's like the skinny ones that are squirming. No. And, of course, the venomous ones I have issues with, too. I'm like, nope.
Well, I think that's sort of a self-preservation.
Devil snake, stay away.
But to me, I think... It's not that I would say I was disappointed as much as that was just not what
you expected.
What I had pictured in my head, because nothing was wrong with it. There was absolutely they.
I loved all the little kids that were there.
Yeah, I loved the children.
Oh, it warmed my heart.
I loved how warm and welcoming everybody was.
It's a very family friendly environment.
But I think I just wanted. I've always had sort of this thing of where I kind of take everything on as like an adventure of like I'm learning something and I'm gaining knowledge about something really cool or whatever, and I didn't feel like I got that per se. Oh my god!
She did it again. I've said throughout this entire video, so do not feel bad. You stopped for so long.
Per se.
I would love it if like someone made a clip of all my ums. And make a song out of it. That'd be so funny.
Oh my god, poker face.
You're terrible. On that note, guys, I think we should wrap it up, and we will talk to y'all later. We are about to start doing our past life video. That was our planned video, by the way. We're doing a past life reading video for each other.
Yeah.
This was
for the fun of it.
Yeah, we've been watching YouTubers all day, and you get inspired.
Yeah.
But take care, guys, and we will talk to y'all later. Merry part.
Merry part.